With me is the Foreign Affairs Minister, the Honorable Carl Greenidge, and tonight we're going to look at the issue of Ghana's foreign policy under your stewardship as we move forward under the new government. Welcome to the program, sir.
Thank you very much. I'm delighted to be able to join you.
All right. How are we going to be moving forward under your guidance as the Foreign Affairs Minister for Guyana?
Well, we propose to go forward at a variety of levels at the same time, if you like, following several parallel tracks. At the heart of our foreign policy is an improvement, a strengthening of the ministry itself. That's the first, to rebuild skills, widen and deepen those skills, a range of skills, whether it is in various disciplines, languages, for example, as well as widening to take in a number of economic areas and trade. At the same time, we also have to look at the missions that we have. We need to pursue the path of integration. We are too small to survive on our own in isolation in foreign policy formulation. So we have to build alliances, starting with the region. First of all, of course, as I'd said on Friday in relation to our relations with the rest of the world, we have, first of all, to be good neighbors with the rest of the world. We have to deal with issues that have to do with sovereignty and to be in good standing so that we can influence other states, other communities in the world. And in order to do that, you have to have issues of consistency, rule of law, issues of principle around which we can build relationships. And then from there, we are going to work with the region, CARICOM, UNISO, and others in pursuit of common goals and common policies. Traditionally, we've worked through the CARICOM, the British Commonwealth, the African, Caribbean, and Pacific groups, and the non-aligned movement in particular, especially in relation to dealing with the border issue. We will continue with those, but we will add the dimension of the Latin America, the broader Latin American region, and we will try to deepen relationships outside and with non-traditional partners. We've had a long political association with Cuba and China, for example. More recently, the economic relationship with China has been deepening, as China has with the rest of the world. But we have to do a lot more on that front to make sure that the benefits can be properly planned and informed. Outside of that, there are a number of bilateral initiatives to take up with countries. This previous government had started work with Turkey outside of the region as a non-traditional partner, and we will take that further. It's very important, and it is absolutely necessary. We will also try to ensure that in citing our missions, we locate them in a manner that enables us to be more effective in our communication with some of these groups and regions. So within the Caribbean, whilst we've had a roving ambassador for the Caribbean, what we're looking at now is having an ambassador who will have special responsibility for the Americas, one that will be based in Trinidad and Tobago, looking at the Eastern Caribbean region, for example.
Just to handle
just
that
to handle that area and make sure that it's a continuous relationship. We are reviewing consuls general, or we will be reviewing consuls general and honorary consuls. These are areas that also help us, and that will be a second phase after we have looked at the heads of the established and main missions in Washington, Ottawa, London, and so forth.
Okay.
And there are a number of international issues that are coming to the fore, and we need to make sure that we are well positioned to participate in that dialogue and to influence where those initiatives or where those fora go.
To our advantage as
To
a
our
country.
advantage, yes.
Yes. All right, I want to ask you something you've been talking about, the link with the Americas and increasing, how is our foreign policy being geared to take advantage of, say, like, there are plans to the road to Brazil, to Georgetown via Linden, and then the bridge across the quarantine. How are those coming?
Well, the discussions on those have been going for a while. I think that from where I sit, I get the impression that perhaps we have been too lethargic in dealing with the relations with Brazil. And so Brazil now finds itself in something of an economic recession, and it's faced also by political turmoil. And so to take that process forward will probably be more challenging now than it would have been a year and a half or 2 years ago. But the idea of the relationship with Brazil is to help to complete the transportation and infrastructure links that Brazil and other members on this subcontinent have been planning. And in that regard, of course, you mentioned the need for a road that will bring us from Lethem to the coast, possibly both by way of Berbice and on the Essequibo or the Marara rivers. There have been feasibility studies, and the final feasibilities of those need to be done to determine which of these is the best and how to phase them. But the idea is that this would enable Brazil to have access to the Atlantic, and it would also provide us with an opportunity to serve as a gateway for the Roraima state in Brazil, and to also enable us to move our goods and products.
So we could see an economic boom of sorts once this comes to
Oh yeah,
reality.
most certainly if you could complete a proper all-weather, high-quality road, it would make a big difference to economic activities, I think, across Guyana. It would make a difference to Linden, it would make a difference to the Rupununi, and it would make a difference to Brazil. And so we will work on that. But the road itself needs to be linked to a deep water port, because that deep water port will enable us to export things in bulk so that you don't have to be transshipping small quantities.
Which adds the cost.
Which
Yes.
adds very much to cost and to timing. Well, depends on how you look at cost, but both to the financial cost of transport and to the time taken
Okay.
transport. So we will be looking at that. And of course, the thing that we could do with Brazil is to work on energy, which is a major constraint in our development.
Okay.
In terms of infrastructure, of course, on the eastern side,
With Suriname.
the Surinamese, we have worked with the Surinamese. There was the Guyana-Suriname ferry, which I had worked on quite extensively when I was Minister of Finance, and had done a good part of the negotiation of the resources for that. Today, we are looking at another level of cooperation, and that has to do with building a bridge across the Quarantine River that will enable the more regular and smooth movement of goods and services between the two countries. And we are going to have to look at that. And I think had signaled to Suriname when we met the president a couple of weeks ago that we are still interested in that, as they were too. And so we have to work out the details. Foreign ministers are supposed to help to accelerate that process.
All right.
So those are two fronts on which we will be working.
Well, thank you for spending the time with us, sir.
And it's my pleasure.
And thanks for watching.